Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo here today to report on my findings from the Spring Treasure Hunt 2019 Day 2. Today we watched 3 shows. We watched Kanata no Astra, Dumbbell Non-Kilo... Dumbbell Non-Kilo Moteru, and Mausama Retry, all of which aired either today or sometime yesterday, so that they came out today subbed. Watched all 3 of them. First up was... Okay, so let me do a little blurb about the format. I'm going to watch every show that airs this season on the day that it airs, and I will do a full reaction to it. There will be links in the description to reactions to all of the shows that I watched today, which will be published around the same time that this video comes out. So, I didn't do this yesterday. I should have, but yesterday I just released the first 3. And I didn't think to do like a compilation thing with my thoughts at the end. So I'll go back in and I'll edit this video to have like sections from the other videos and stuff, so whatever. But this will just be like a little overview, because I realized that if my stated purpose is to help people find out which shows they might want to watch this season, this summer, then it's not super helpful if I just give them a list of shows that's like, hey, so I've reacted to all of them. And that's all I have. And then they have to like click on each one and watch the video to find out whether I liked it. That's silly. So I thought it would be most helpful if I did like a little short blurb where I condense down my thoughts after the fact on all the shows, so that you can just watch that and then be like, oh, he seemed to really like this, or he thought this was shit, so I guess I'll just ignore it. That is, of course, if you want to use me as a resource for finding out what you might like. Everyone's taste is going to vary. These are just my opinions and my first impressions after watching these shows. And that's it. So, without further anything, drumroll please, Kanata no Astra. So, Kanata no Astra is a 47-minute pilot. It's a double-length feature pilot, which might turn some people off. It certainly had me skeptical. Because going in, I knew that this was a Lerche show by Masaomi Ando, who's a director who has ratings in the 6-7 range, based on a well-rated manga. Seemed like near future hard sci-fi. But I was worried that, 47 minutes is a long block of content, and you better have stuff to fill that time. And more than that, you'd better make a case to me that you needed that time for your first episode. Because if I feel like you could have just split it up and released the first episode, and I would have been either hooked or not on the show, then you just wasted 20 more minutes of my time. So then I started watching it, and around the 10 to 15 minute mark, I was kind of like, well, I don't know how this is going. This is kind of meh. I don't know where this is going. So far, this is pretty boring. I'm waiting to care. And the reason for that was because there was a lot of setup that needed to be done, and there is a big cast of characters in this show, all of whom, as far as I can tell, because of the nature of the show, are going to end up having a lot of screen time. So it's important that we get to know them at least a little bit in this first episode, and we solidly set up the situation. Now, the structure of this first 47-minute episode is rather interesting. It starts in media res, with our main girl, pink-haired girl, floating alone in space, and terrified because she's floating alone in space. And we end with a figure, a guy in a spacesuit, reaching out to her. Rescue. Then we jump back. So we jump back, and she's prepping to get ready to go for camp, and she's all gung-ho and happy about it. Goes to the airport. Bunch of stuff happens, runs into some random people who will, some of them, become important later, and eventually finds her way to where her group is boarding, and we're exposited to. This is a group, it's a tradition, it seems, that they take like 8 kids, high school students or so, and they send them off to a planet to live on the planet alone with no teachers, no instructors, no adults or anything for, it's like 5 days. It's planet camp. Yay! And everybody's excited and happy for it. We see a bunch of the other kids who they'll be going with, and we meet this little Shinobutan, who I'm going to call Shinobutan because she literally looks like a tan version of Shinobu from the Monogatari series. And she's the sister of the little sister of one of the people going. and they have to carry her along. That's their special task that they have to do. So off they go, off to the planet. It all goes without a hitch. Everybody's starting to interact. It's kind of awkward. Nobody knows who each other is. And then at about the 20-minute mark, they arrive. They arrive on Planet Camp, and the spaceship takes off. Off they go. We'll pick you up in 5 days. See you later. And they all step out onto this really weird-looking planet with like lots of mesas and plateaus and stuff. And it's pretty normal seeming. Spaceship flies away. Everything looks fine. And then one of the characters like, what's that over there? Oh shit, it's a fucking ball of weird energy shit. And it just like devours all of them one after another. And then we follow main guy, not main girl, main guy, as he gets devoured by the ball and flies through wormhole space or something. And ends up floating untethered in the middle of space. Not quite the middle of space, let's be real. They're in orbit around a planet, and they're all near each other, and there's a, like, what do you call it when a ship is no longer in service? There's an abandoned ship, big spaceship, floating around the planet near them. None of them know what's going on, but they manage to all link up and get inside the ship. And once they get on board, they realize that there's one of them missing. It's pink-haired girl, and we know where she is. She's floating off in space on her own. Apparently her thrusters are broken on her suit, so she can't get there. So they have to do this really cool, really, honestly, genuinely heroic set of things to go and get her and bring her back inside. And everybody pitches in. I won't spoil how it happens because I think that the mechanics of this little bit are part of the appeal of it, at least to me. But some real genuine heroic moments that tie in with a rather, well, there's a pretty generic backstory for main guy. He's got some stuff in his past that's applicable here, and he brings it up, and we're told this all in succession. It all sort of makes sense. And what I kept thinking when this was going on was, yeah, this is generic and straightforward, but it works. It's crisp. This is rather tightly written, and this has a goal. This has a place it's trying to go. And I think I'd be willing to go along with it. So my overall take on Kanata no Astra was, I went in a little bit skeptical of the 47-minute episode. I think it needed the 47-minute episode in order to get to the point where it could lay out the premise for us. I don't think there was much that could have been cut out of this episode, and I don't think that it could have introduced itself in 22, 23 minutes. I think it would have been a really tough sell to do that. Or it would have ended on a really weird cliffhanger and just had everybody wondering what the hell this show was about. The direction and production isn't stellar, haha. It's not over the top, it's not amazing, but it's solid, it's good enough, and some things look pretty great. There's some style to the direction and shot composition that makes some of the shots look pretty great. The characters, the cast of characters, all of them are introduced to us with a basis in archetypes. There's like the strong, silent, smart guy. There's the gung-ho sort of shonen protagonist-y type. There's klutzy sort of airheaded girl. There's there's really shy girl. There's super edgy boy who's also voiced by Toei from Sarazanmai. Same voice actor. And so in my headcanon, he's just Toei grown up in the future. Try it. It works. Interesting cast of characters. All of them based on archetypes because we have to be introduced to all of them in quick succession. But there's a lot that can be done to flesh out these characters. And what really intrigues me about the show is the setup. Because what we have is a characters locked in a claustrophobic environment situation thing. Kind of like a stranded on a desert island or trapped in castle during a storm, whatever. They're stuck on this ship, and they have to deal with each other, right? That's going to be probably the root of the dramatic conflict in the show. It's got some slow burny vibes to it. It's also got some interesting adventure stuff that could be done. By the end, they have to chart a course, making small hops between planets to restock and resupply because their ship can only hold so much water and food and stuff. So they're trying to get home. That's their goal. Try to get home, and they're gonna have to explore a bunch of planets to do that. So I'm wondering at this point which direction this show is going to go. Is it going to lean heavily into the claustrophobic characters forced into a difficult circumstance together, a la Sunshine, one of my favorite films? Or is it going to focus more on the interesting stuff that happens on an adventure across multiple planets as they literally hop across the galaxy? And either way, I'm cool with that. I'm in. So unless this show takes a big nosedive in the next couple of episodes, I'm going to stick with it, I think. Unless my schedule gets ridiculous, which is totally possible. Anyway, that's my feeling on Kanata no Astra. I thought it was pretty good. If the 47-minute runtime of the first episode turns you off, all I can say is give it a shot. Give it 25 minutes. Give it a couple minutes more than the halfway point, and I think it'll start to pay dividends. Cool? Cool. Let's move on. Next show that I watched today was Dumbbell Nankilo Moteru, aka Weightlifting with Your Waifus. This is the Doga Koba show of the season. It's directed by Mitsue Yamazaki, who also directed Gekkan Shoujo Nozaki-kun and Tada Never Falls in Love, neither of which I've seen, but both of which I've heard great things about. He was also an assistant director on Penguin Drum, of all things, so that seemed promising going in. And I was not disappointed. So I don't look it because I'm a scrawny little fuck because I haven't been lifting recently. But I used to be really into weightlifting. Big compound movements, squat, bench, deadlift, squat, OHP, row. You know, that stuff. Used to be really into it, and I love it a lot. This show is about a girl who goes to the gym, and then wacky hijinks occur. It's very aware of its place in anime culture, or in the zeitgeist, let's use that word. Very aware of its place. There's a joke in the middle about this becoming an edutainment show, which it is. It is an edutainment show. So I was worried about a couple of things going into this. One, I was worried that it was going to be over the top with the fan service and paradoxically turn me off because of that. Wasn't a problem. I mean, there is fan service. There are hot girls in hot clothes doing weightlifting and stuff. And they're hot. I like the character designs. I think they're very attractive. We've only met a couple of them so far. From the OP and ED, it seems like there's going to be a pretty solid cast of characters, especially of cute and hot girls. I really like the main character's character design. I think she is perfect for being sexy, both like in her fantasies of herself as like a hard body and in reality where she's a little bit thick. She's hot. She's hot. I like her. She's also funny. She like, as she's trying to lose weight, she's continuing to chow down on like hot dogs and curry bread and like fried stuff. It's great. There's this other girl who's like the idol of her school. She's that archetype, the perfect pretty girl. And she is a muscle fetishist. So you'll see in the thumbnail for the reaction to it that I used an image of her where she's literally saying, "Oh, it's so much eye candy I could come," doing like ahagao faces. It's hilarious. I thought it was very funny. All the jokes landed for me, but this isn't really like a laugh out loud comedy show. This is more like a slice of life than that. But not even. It's more like a doing stuff show. It's a show about a hobby. And in this case, that hobby is weightlifting, which is cool and something that I like. So, you know, hobby type shows, when they're actually about a hobby that you're familiar with, are always gonna resonate with you a little bit more. And so this one resonates with me. But, you know, it's a hobby show. The girls are cute. The production is pretty great. The animation of the girls being cute and sexy is pretty sexy. I think it hits all of the marks that it's supposed to. There are some good gags in it. There's some funny stuff, but mostly it's just having fun, learning to lift weights with cute girls. If that sounds like it might be your cup of tea, come along for the ride, because I am definitely going to be watching more, if not all, of Dumbbell Non-Kilo Moteru, because I love this. It's sexy, it's funny, it's inspirational. It makes me want to get under the barbell again and pump some iron. Yeah. So, finally, what you've all been waiting for, Mao-sama Retry. I know that this is the hypest show of the season. Everybody's talking about it. You know, Vinland Saga, psh, Dr. Stone, nah. It's all about Mao-sama Retry. This is the one that everybody has had their eyes on. Coming out, another knockout hit from Studio Ekachi Apilka, that one studio that we all know of, right? Nobody? No? Nobody cares about Mao-sama Retry? Oh. Well, me neither. I went into this show thinking, this looks like a generic isekai, and a bad one. It's made by a studio that has made one other show, which has mediocre ratings. It's directed by one Hiroshi Kimura, who has director credits on a number of things that I haven't seen, all of which have mediocre ratings, except for one, which has atrociously bad ratings. It's called Lady Spo. It sits at a 3.64 on Mal right now. They're 4-minute episodes. I'm going to go find that later and see how bad it is, just for fun. But, you know, all of this stuff coming in made me think this show's gonna be crap. And then there was one thing. Let me find this one line, because it's so eye roll inducing that it by itself colored my opinion of this show. So Mao-sama Retry. There it is. Yeah, the last line of the blurb is Demon Lord on the outside, normal person on the inside, a misunderstanding type fantasy. So, at that point, my eyes rolled 360 degrees around, and it hurt. It hurt a lot. So I started watching this show, and it starts with the most generic isekai setup. Guy's shutting down his game that he's been developing for 15 years, or like running for 15 years. At midnight, he shuts it down, and then like a meteor hits or something, and then he floats through weird meta space. And then he wakes up, and he's his Demon Lord character inside an isekai world. And it's mostly the same isekai world as the game he created, but there are some differences. And it's generic as fuck. On my first attempt at Mao-sama Retry, I made it a full, whopping 2 minutes and 16 seconds into the video. Which is not much. That is the intro stinger and about 15 or 20 seconds of the OP. I stopped where, in the OP, after this super generic setup, there's this girl who appears in the OP who's got the same haircut as the girls from ReZero. And there's one scene at exactly 2:16 in the OP where the Demon Lord is just spanking her and like grinning, like ha. I think I made it the thumbnail, so you can see it. And I just went, I'm done. So I paused and I was like, this is dumb. I don't like it. I'm not gonna watch more of it. And that was that for then. So then I went in my Discord and I was like, wow, I just watched the first 2 minutes. I couldn't even make it 3 minutes through Mao-sama. And somebody else in the Discord went, really? I watched it with a group of people and we all thought it was fun. We thought it was a fun parody of the isekai genre. And I went, wait. A parody? Oh shit, it could be a parody. That could be intentional. This could be for comedy. Oh my god. What have I done? I screwed up. I didn't give the show a fair shake. And I missed the joke. The show is being like, this is a dumb isekai, right? That's the joke. So I went and I rewatched it, and I ended up watching the whole thing. And what I determined was, I don't think it's a parody. I think it's a genuine attempt at making a show. And I think it's sincere. What I also discovered was, I don't hate it. Not nearly as much as I thought I did. It's kind of sweet. Yes, it's a generic, dumb isekai setup. Yes, the protagonist has basically no character yet. Neither does the girl yet. but it's kind of sweet. There are some sweet moments in here. He meets this kind of cute little girl with a limp, and I was also really worried that her limp would be her character. Like, there's nothing to her except that she has a disabled foot. It's never mentioned explicitly. We are shown, we are not told that she has a limp. And the Demon Lord guy never brings it up. He notices it, but he never brings it up. And there's a kind of a sweet, sappy little moment near the end of the episode that I really liked. Now, I don't think I'm going to watch more of this show because it doesn't do much for me. It's not very pretty. The production is pretty mediocre. But I have to say that there's a sincerity with which this show portrays its material. And it's the kind of sincerity that comes from the people working on the show and not from the material itself. And what I mean is they're trying. They're genuinely trying to make something good, or at least okay. They're not trying to make a parody, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. But if they are trying to make a parody, I think that's actually an even bigger knock against them because it fails as a parody. What it doesn't fail at is an okay show with an isekai premise. So, first me dismissing it after 2 minutes and 16 seconds wasn't quite right, and neither was the me who came back thinking, well, maybe if it's parody, it might be okay. Where I ended up was, this show's not bad. It's not good by any stretch. It's not inspired. It's not unique. It's not terribly interesting. But they're trying. So I'll give them that. And I didn't hate it. I came out of it with a smile on my face and kind of feeling kind of wholesome. There's some wholesome moments. And if this show turns out to be just isekai pops and cute Dororo running around through this world, being cute and their relationship growing, then I could be down for that. I honestly could. So if that sounds appealing to you, give the show a shot and give it more than a couple of minutes, because maybe it'll get to you. Maybe not. Anyway, this has been all 3 shows that I watched today. Yay! We did it! We watched 3 shows. Woohoo! One of them was a double length. Oh, man. This has been all 3 shows that I watched today. Of the 3 that I watched today, I think 2 of them are genuinely winners. I think that Kanata no Astra, if you want a relatively slow-moving, we'll have to see how the actual episodes are paced, but relatively slow-moving, interesting, hard sci-fi that sets up its conflicts and its scenarios with sometimes giving the audience enough information that they could perhaps intuit the way to solve the situation. Has an interesting cast of characters that's probably going to be fleshed out quite a bit more as we move along, and is pretty well produced. If that sounds like your cup of tea, Kanata no Astra might be for you. Dumbbell non-kilo moteru. Dogokobo, cute girls lifting weights. Weightlifting waifus. I really like this show, partly because I like weightlifting. I like seeing it on screen. And I like the way that it's portrayed in the show. If you're looking for inspiration to get into the gym or get in shape, this might be for you. If you're just looking to watch pretty sexy girls do sexy things in training clothes, this might also be for you because it's pretty hot. But not over the top with the fan service. In fact, it's not even super fan service heavy. It's just an element. It's there. But it's not crazy about it. And then Mao-sama Retry, which I think is the weakest show of the 3 that I watched today. It's a generic, pretty mediocre isekai, but it's got some heart. And so if you're down for that, maybe give it a shot. All right, this has been my report for day 2 of the summer 2019 treasure hunt. I've been Teeaboo. I hope you've enjoyed this excursion. I'll catch you tomorrow with whatever is airing tomorrow. See you there. Peace.